Hello, welcome to week 2 of the Stitch on Sunday blanket. So this week we have Snakeskin. The thing I like about this one, if you are deciding to knit this and then sew them together later, this one, it's really pretty on this side, which is the actual right side, but it's also pretty on its opposite side as well, on its wrong side. So you could pick and choose which way you decide to put this one on if you're sewing up as you go, rather than knitting them on as you go. I mean, if you wanted to knit it on as you go and have this as your right side, by all means do, but obviously you've got to reverse everything that I'm telling you. So yeah, so we're going to do, I've done 4 repeats, and now we're going to do the 5th repeat for this one. So row 1 is knit 1, and then the repeat is knit 1, purl 3, knit 1, knit 1, purl 3, knit 1, knit 1, purl 3, knit 1. So we keep doing that until the last stitch. And then your last stitch will be a knit 1. Row 2, this pattern has patterns on the wrong side and the right side, so it's not just a purl back pattern. So row 2, the edge stitch is a purl 1, and then the repeat is purl 1, knit 3, purl 1, purl 1, knit 3, purl 1. So we're just mirroring what we've just done. Purl 1, knit 3, purl 1, and you do that until the last stitch. And then the last stitch is a purl 1. Row 3, edge stitch is a knit 1, and then we're going to knit 1, purl 1, purl 2 together, knit 1, yarn over, repeat, knit 1, purl 1, purl 2 together, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, purl 1, purl 2 together, knit 1, yarn over, and we work this till the last stitch. Knit 1, yarn over, and then the edge stitch is a knit 1. Don't forget that last yarn over, otherwise your stitch count will be out. And now we've got row 4, which edge stitch is a purl 1, and then it's knit 4, oops, purl 1, knit 4, purl 1, knit 4, purl 1, and we just repeat that to the last stitch. And then your last stitch is a purl 1. Row 5. First stitch is a knit 1, which is your edge stitch. knit your stitch, bring your yarn in front, and we're going to slip knit and take it over the back to do your slip knit stitch. Then knit 2 together, and then we've got a yarn over to purl 1, so we don't need to bring it in front to purl, we need to just bring it, keep it in back and bring it straight over the top to do that purl stitch. Keep it quite loose, don't pull it too tight because you'll lose your yarn over, so just keep it loose. And that's the repeat. So we start with the yarn over, so the yarn is in front, we'll go into a slip knit. So set it up, keep your yarn in front, take it across the top of the needle and do your slip knit. You can do wrapping around your needle to get to where you need to be, but you're going to make your eyelets really big if you do it that way. So this is the best way to do it, but it can be tricky, so just do what's best for you. So we've got knit 2 together, and then yarn over, let me just get rid of that, yarn over to a purl 1, so straight from the back over the top of the needle to the front, and then set up your slip knit and go back over the top again to do those 2 yarn overs. Knit 2 together, yarn over, purl 1. So we do this until our last stitch. So you've got yarn over to purl 1, and then your edge stitch is a knit 1. Row 6, edge stitch is purl 1, and then we've got knit 2. And with these, because of the way you've done the yarn overs, if you've done what I've said, you will knit this into the back of it there. You'll knit it into the one that you can see. If you pull this around and knit into there, you'll close the eyelet up. So knit into this side, so knit, so it's knit 2, purl 2, knit 1, and this one's just the bar that's the leg that you can see more predominantly, I can't speak today, I'm very sorry. The leg that you can see predominantly, knit into that one. So we have knit 2, just remember to use the back leg because that's the predominant one. Dear me. Purl 2, knit 1, so knit 2, purl 2, knit 1, and we do that to the last stitch. And then your last stitch is a purl 1. Row 7, start stitch, edge stitch is a knit 1, and then we've got purl 1, knit 2, purl 2, so we're just mirroring again what we've just done. Purl 1, knit 2, purl 2, purl 1, knit 2, purl 2, and we do that to the last stitch. And then your last stitch is a knit 1. Row 8 is exactly the same as row 6, so we want to purl 1, and then the repeat is the mirror of what you've just done, so knit 2, purl 2, knit 1. Knit 2, purl 2, knit 1, knit 2, purl 2, knit 1, and we work that to the last stitch. And your last stitch on this row is a purl 1. Row 9. Okay, so 9 begins with a knit 1, and then we do purl 2 together. This is the repeat. Purl 2 together, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, purl 1, purl 2 together, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, purl 1, purl 2 together, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, purl 1. If you are somebody who can read your knitting, if you're quite experienced, this row to me seems completely incorrect when I read the knitting, but it's not. It is right, it just seems a bit alien against what you've been doing already, but obviously it's breaking up the snakeskin, so to speak. So we work this until the last stitch. And your last stitch on this is a knit 1, and then row 10. So row 10 begins with purl 1, and then you repeat. It's knit 1, purl 1 twice, knit 1, purl 1, and then a knit 1. So we do knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1. Sorry if you can hear banging about, it's my kids upstairs. Knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1. So we do that to the last stitch. And then your last stitch on this row is a purl 1. 11. 11 is the first stitch is a knit 1, and then our repeat is knit 2 together, yarn over, no sorry, knit 2 together, we're going into a purl 1. So from the back of your work, bring the yarn across the top to create your yarn over and purl 1. And then we're going into a slip slip knit, so we bring the yarn from the front of the work, take it across the top of the needle and do your slip 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 knit stitch. Knit 2 together, yarn over to a purl 1, so yarn over the top of the needle, purl 1, yarn over to a slip slip knit, so over the top of the needle again, the other way, and into your slip slip knit. And these will create the best eyelets for you. Knit 2 together, yarn over, purl 1, yarn over, slip slip knit, knit 2 together, yarn over, purl 1, yarn over, slip slip knit. So we do this to the last stitch. And your last stitch is a knit 1, and then our very last row, row 12. Let me just get some yarn. So your first stitch is a purl 1, and then your repeat is purl 1. I've done the yarn in the wrong way. Purl 1, knit 3, purl 1, Now we're in the same situation that we were in on row 5, which is we do our purl one and then we knit the predominant leg of the knit stitches. So this first one will be the front leg as normal. Your middle one is a normal knit stitch, knit, and then the third one is the back leg that you need to knit into because that's more predominant. So knit, 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 purl one, whoops, knit, 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 and we do that to the last stitch. If you've done the yarn overs the way I've told you, but you've pulled them a little bit too tight, they might start coming across like this. You'll get like the stitch coming over. So this one should be fine. You'll be able to knit that one. But when you get to these two, it might look a little bit more like this with 2 stitches, but that's not a stitch. So if you've got a complicated mess in front of you and you don't know which one to knit, just make sure, because that was a purl stitch, make sure your purl bump is at the front, and then you know that these 2 legs are the ones that you need to knit because you've got a purl bump there. If it's pulling like this, then you know there's no purl bump. And then this row ends with a purl one. And that is your 12 rows of snakeskin. This will block out. You'll need to block it a bit with the amount of stitches we've cast on. So you're going to need to block it wider. Try and get the same sort of width as your previous square and the same sort of height. Mine are approximately 18 by 18 centimetres. I'm not 100% what that is in inches off the top of my head, so I'll put that on the screen, I'll write that up. But that's approximately where I'm at. So I'm going to cast this one off and then I'm going to sew it in place, and I'll do a tutorial over the next week or so of sewing them in case you're not knitting them as we go. I've already said that I'm not going to now knit them as we go because I'm under a lot of time restraint with homeschooling, and I'm worried that if I had one in place and then I had to change it, I would have to pull all the swatches out to get back to that square to pull it out because of it being knit as we go. So I'm going to be sewing mine in now. I'm not going to do that, so I'm not under too much pressure to have it exactly right. But you do you, and if you want to sew them in, knit them as you go, there is a tutorial up for that. And if you want to sew them in place, I will sort out a sewing up tutorial over the next couple of weeks, and you can do that. But so far that's week 2. So I hope you're liking it so far.